Now, apparently people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars playing these video games, but if a pro gamer competes in a cyber cafe and no one sees it, is it really a professional sport? For years, media companies have tried to create a professional sport out of competitive gaming. Leagues keep popping up, players are signing contracts worth hundreds of thousands, and TV networks are broadcasting the events. Last weekend, CBS broadcast the World Series of video games, becoming the latest gaming event to take on the sports arena. However, some are saying that the sport is boring to watch and impossible to follow. Despite the fact that the events only appeal to a select group of hardcore gamers, pro gaming fans say that it's only a matter of time before the gaming community supports the competitions as much as they do the games. Can pro gaming be as successful as professional sports, or are the majority of gamers uninterested in being just spectators? Get your peanuts and polygons. It's The Loop. All right, my guest tonight from New York, chairman and co-founder of Major League Gaming, Mike Cespo, is here, and G4's very own Adam Sessler joins us as well. Welcome to The Loop, everybody. Mike, I'd like to start with you since this is this is your domain, to say the least. What did you think of the World Series of video games?
Kevin, I thought it was an interesting attempt. I like the fact that it's on CBS. One of the core problems of the whole issue that we're talking about tonight is that what most of the other leagues out there and media companies are trying to do is create a spectacle out of competitive gaming before it's even really become a sport. What we try to do at Major League Gaming is maintain authenticity with core gamers, maintain credibility by really focusing on having all of the best players play the best games in the most competitive setting.
Sure.
That's not the case for the CBS show. I mean, having people do silly guitar tricks with Guitar Hero is funny to watch, but that's not professional gaming, and it's not a sport.
Yeah, Adam, do you think at this point these televised gaming events are really just a parody of actual sporting events that we see televised?
It comes across really as kind of older executives who don't get video games, and this is how they think us gamers like to see things, and it's really unfortunate. I think one of the other problems, I think Mike kind of touched on that, is that we can't use the older way of looking at how we televise a traditional sporting event and think that can immediately be applied to how we would do gaming as a sport. I think that really the internet, or some of the ways that you say you look in PGR3 with the spectator mode where people would just kind of feed into the game, might offer a better way instead of being fed just one feed from the first-person perspective in Unreal Tournament 3. I don't think that you really get a good sense of what's going on. It's too chaotic. It's too frenetic. It's not easy to follow.
Mike, do you think is that a problem of the people that are covering the games, or is it just an inherent flaw of the games themselves?
Well, look, I think, you're talking about a lot of other things that are going on out there. At Major League Gaming, we've been doing this for over 5 years. We were the first ones to broadcast it on television. We had a 7-episode series last year on USA Network that over 2 million people watched. So it's not like nobody's watching this. And we produced it in a very sports format style. So I agree with what I'm saying. In some respects, you can't do it the traditional ways. And the reality is, we have a huge broadband business where we're showing video of our pro competitions all the time, and there's significantly more people watching it through broadband, through places like Xbox Live Marketplace, all these new digital platforms where people like us who are gamers are watching video. It's not just appointment television anymore.
Sure.
So I think that's where the model shifts.
Well, I got to throw out the old Korea argument, because it always gets brought up. Sure. Adam, I'll start with you. Like, will we ever see this catch on like it has over there? I mean, it's as huge as the NFL or Major League Baseball is in the States here.
I don't think it fits. I think, most countries have their very unique cultures, and Korea definitely has a very, very unique culture. I think StarCraft became so popular due to the fact that you had a lot of people who were online with computers, but the computers themselves weren't that technologically advanced. And in that country, it is a smaller country and more homogenous. When one thing catches fire, it can catch fire that much faster. I just don't see that model happening here with any one particular game or with gaming as sport, period.
Well, Mike, can something like that even happen here in the States when it seems like there are? I mean, I know MLG is its own thing, but aren't there like 45 different professional gaming leagues all playing 600 different games with different brackets and different rules? Like, doesn't it have to be standardized to even stand a chance here in the States?
It doesn't have to be standardized. One league has to be the preeminent one, and that's what Major League Gaming is. I mean, if you do a look at the online traffic for all the competitive gaming and pro gaming sites out there, the Major League Gaming sites have about 90% of the market share. So where we are setting the standards, that part is true. I think the difference is in Korea, and I've been there a couple times to see what's happening. it's a totally different thing. Just like sports in the rest of the world are different than the NFL, the NBA, the NASCAR. I mean, we just create and consume sports in a completely different way in America than the rest of the world does.
But Mike, what about the televised aspect of this? Because I know you just said MLG, you guys were the first to put it on TV, so obviously you want that market. You're going after it. Will this ever take on as a televised spectator sport?
Look, like I said, 2 million people watched our series last year on USA Network, the largest cable network. I mean, there are people watching it on television already. I think it's also quite a bit different than the Korean model, like what Adam said. I mean, it's not pro gaming per se, it's StarCraft. Right. And they're really creating it almost like a game show kind of atmosphere where there's, literally guys in like silver lame outfits and they're kind of treated like boy bands with tour buses and groupies and stuff. It's a whole different flavor. It's not, nobody who's used to traditional American stick and ball sports would go to South Korea and look at what they're doing with StarCraft and say, wow, that looks just like the NFL, but done with gaming. It's a totally different thing.
Adam, when am I ever going to see you like in a packed sports bar throwing a PBR at the big screen because, Team Manhammer didn't defuse the bomb in Counter-Strike? Like, is that day going to come?
Well, only if I have a child on Team Manhammer may that actually happen. I hope that doesn't. I think the issue is that for people who consider themselves gamers, only a small portion of them are those who are playing online in the competitive type games that you see on these televised events. And so you've taken kind of you have a niche of a niche, more or less. I don't know if that group is going to really expand over time. Those who like Unreal Tournament, I don't think that game is going to catch on much bigger any time in the future. Yeah, there's a lot who like it, but without that generated interest in those particular games, I don't know if you can really grow that audience all that much.
All right, I want to give the final word to Mike very quickly here. Mike, in the next 5 years, will I ever pour a bowl of Wheaties that actually features a professional gamer on the cover? Will we get to that point in 5 years?
Absolutely, and I mean the early indicators are that people from the traditional sports world, like Gilbert Arenas, who's been very involved with Major League Gaming for a long time, are flocking to us and helping us build out what this is. And what we're doing is making sure that the gamers themselves, the pros that we have in our league, are actually bigger than the game. It doesn't matter what the game is, and that's one of the points I would disagree with Adam on, is it's not really about the game and whether you're familiar or you play that particular game. It's the teams and the personalities that are playing them who are becoming the pros of the next great sport.
Well, if my mom can name a professional gamer, or if I see a kid riding down the street with a professional gamer baseball card in his spokes, then I'll agree that we've arrived. But for the meantime, I want to thank my guests, Mike and Adam, for keeping us in the loop. Appreciate your time,
Thanks,
guys.
Kevin.
Attack of the Show, weeknights at 7, only on G4.